Blog Talk Radio.
Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed. It's summer party. Grown and sexy, join the party. Good summer party. Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed.
Welcome to a Friday night pajama party. I'm one of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
All right, Ketel's not in the studio tonight, so she's
There you go.
You okay, Ketel?
Grown folks business. I'm fine.
And Redwine, of course.
Bonsoir, everybody. Bonsoir. Comment allez-vous?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Redwine's in the studio here with me, and oh, Lord.
Yep, I'm going to keep him in check.
And she's sleeping with the French guy, so she's speaking French.
All in my business. See, you right, Ketel. Grown folk business.
All right, well, I'm just, y'all, so, both of y'all lives are so transparent that I can't help but notice.
Yeah, you keep putting us all on blast.
Anyway,
how you doing, Ketel?
I'm fine. I'm well, thank you. And you?
I am functioning within mostly normal parameters. Thank you for asking.
Oh, my Lord.
Okay.
Normal parameters.
I sound like a robot over there.
I'm not lying. Mostly normal.
When did we hire this educated one?
Trapped in the studio with Poppa DD can be but so normal.
Oh,
okay.
Boy. All right. Y'all behave till I get back now.
Anyway, I just opened up a fresh bottle of Maker's Mark. So in a few minutes, I won't even know red wine exists up in here. All right.
He opens up a new bottle when I'm not there. I see how this works, Papa. Okay.
Well, yeah, but
is that what it is?
When the lush aren't here, I can drink respectful. I can drink civilized.
I got to bring my own. I see how they work.
That's how it goes.
You know what Maker's Mark means?
Mm-hmm.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
All right now.
All right, so
I heard it.
What do we got going on tonight? Kelly, you want to read it right now for folks?
Sure. We got quite a bit, so let's get into it.
All
we
right.
have our hot topics tonight. What's really going on in Austin? Also, more White House firing. Okay, that's like every day. Unfortunately, a new pedestrian bridge collapses in Miami. Also, a hit it and quit it headline. Toys R Us is closing all of its U.S. stores. National Geographic editor admits to racist coverage. Who will the steel tariffs impact? Dylan Roof's sister accused of having weapons at school. Also, the shutdown of a funeral home that also ran body brokerage. That's something new. What's popular with Poppa DD? Where are we headed? Our weird news, Mexico seizes mezcal bottles with snakes and reptiles inside. Ugh. Police say Indiana man took taxi to and from bank robbery. And court rejects Romanian claim that he is alive, a Romanian man that he is alive. I'm just saying with Redwine, do we have to bark to get some action? Living for the city. Poppa DD got a surprise for us tonight, my Hollywood wrap-up. Also, our cocktail of the week is called the Angry Balls. I don't know who came up with that. Our Kiss It list and the last word. Sit back, relax, get your favorite cocktail, maybe get one of the Angry Balls, and we'll be back with the hot topic.
Looking for a new cocktail to serve at your next dinner party? Trying to figure out what pairs well with your main entree? Then you need to visit the Cocktail of the Week archive at apajamaparty.com. We've got a list of all the cocktails we've featured on previous Pajama Party shows. with recipes and pictures of the drinks. And believe me, we've had some good ones. And while you're on the website, visit the archives for previous shows. Just click on any date, and you can hear the shows again and again. We've got you covered at apajamaparty.com. And tell a friend. They'll thank you.
All right, welcome back to Pajama Party. One of those Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
And Redwine.
Bonsoir, everybody.
Oh, boy. Oh, you had too many already? What's going on?
There's a lot of hateration in the world.
What is going on over there?
Can't you just say hello, Negro? Anyway.
Je suis Ben Rouge.
Oh.
So, we're going to move on with the hot topics for the night, and I'm up first. Let's talk about Austin, Texas. What's really going on down in Austin, Texas? Now, this Monday, there were 2 package bombs that exploded in Austin, in one of the communities in Austin, Texas. One of the bombs killed Draylon Mason, who was only 17 years old, and it critically injured his mother. The second struck 75-year-old Esperanza Herrera, and it quickly became apparent that these bombings were connected to the package bombing that killed Anthony Howes, who was 39, on March the 2nd in Austin, Texas. Now, all 4 of these bombings that happened in March, happened to people of color, black people and Hispanic people. Now, Mason and Howes were both African American. Mason's mother is African American and Herrera is Latina. Now, the families of Mason and Howes are prominent families in the black community. They both attended the historic Wesley United Methodist Church, and which the church, by the way, was founded by freed slaves in 1866. So this is an historical church, historical community. And in the city of Austin, there's only a 6% black population. So it's not like, there's a whole lot of people that are black in Austin. 6%, okay? Now, for a lot of people of color, this has just been another reminder that the racial tension is real. The situation has not gotten better over the years like people like to think it has. And as we started doing research on this, I found out that Austin is very deeply segregated. Now, they have it's a physical and a cultural dividing line at Interstate 35. If you have ever been to Austin, Interstate 35 separates the east side from the west side. Now, the east side is the district where the African Americans and the Latinos traditionally lived, and that's where all 3 of these bombings happened. If you look at the geographic and the cultural layout, they separated everything the way they did just to separate the people of color from the non-people of color. Now, this goes all the way back to 1928 when Austin created a master plan to create what they called a Negro district where they expected all the black people to live. And this displaced another area that was in already in existence called Freedman Town, which used to be on the west side of Interstate 35. But because the white people wanted that prime location, they kicked all the black people out, forced them out, did different things, bought that land, forced them back over to the east side. And then as the city started to grow, the land close to downtown became prime property, which is where all the black people had been pushed to. So what did they do? White folk again said, oh, we want that downtown property now. That looks good. So they did the same thing, pushed the black people again so they could get the prime property. But this is what's been happening in Austin and probably countless other cities across this red, white, and blue country of ours. So, it goes on to talk about the gentrification of Austin. And as far as the package bombs, they don't have any lead yet for who did it. They're investigating it at the local and federal level. They've got over 300 federal agents that are working on the case. And they're just saying, right now they're going to keep investigating until they can try to get to the bottom of it all. and hopefully there won't be any more packages. But they said the bombs were made from basic, like, household materials. It wasn't really anything too sophisticated, but it was very efficient. So that's what's happening in Mosul. And you know their motto is keeping it weird, or something about weird. You know, we like to keep it weird or stay weird or something like that. I guess now we know how weird they are.
Yeah. Ain't they time to keep the white, the black.
Isn't that something? And every time they decided, no, I think we want that land, they just boot people right on out and say, "Yep, y'all got to go." People can't catch a break.
No, it just sounds like it's bigger than what it is, because if they're able to move that many people out in a particular area, it's bigger than, you know, what they say it is. The people behind it that are backing it, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. And as far as the investigation, I wouldn't trust them either. So.
Well, that's a good point.
But is it really that simple to do that, or?
No, it's a master plan to do that, and it takes time. You don't just up and decide by the end of the month, I want all you black people gone. That's what gentrification does. You start developing and doing other things in the area that force the price to go up and make it so unaffordable so that the people who live in that general area can't afford to stay in that area. Then people come and start offering them money, saying, well, look, how about I give you X number of dollars so that you can get out of this hole that you're living in and go get something nice on the other side of town, out in the suburbs. Wouldn't you like that better? And some people are so gullible, they just go, oh, yeah, that would be nice. And then they take a lower amount of money, not realizing the value of the property that they're sitting on, in most cases, because they don't know what the plan is. It hasn't really developed yet, so they aren't in on the conversation. They don't know what's coming. They don't know that this whole part of the city is about to blow up. You know, value's about to go through the roof. Condos are coming. Another grocery store chain is coming. A Walmart, and all of this is coming. And they're going to put stores and residential on top of the stores and all of the stuff that they do. And if people don't know, they just think, oh, well, this is a good deal. You know, I'm going to take the money and get on out of here. And then they regret it 10 years later when they look back and say, wow, I should have never sold my house.
All right, that's interesting. But let me say this here. First of all, if you have any comments on this particular story, you know, give us a call, which is numbers, 914-803-4306.
And press
1. And press 1. If you're already listening to us by phone, just press 1 and you'll be locked into the studio and we'll take your call. Now, my take on this, it seems to me, Redwine, that you really have the whole story down pat, I guess, how it works. Okay?
That's just my understanding of it.
All right. Now my take on it, and not to be anything of any different nature, but I'm saying this here that I'd rather be if I was a slave, I've been a dead slave. I think that when you say that particular story you're saying, is that where we are as a group or as a people? Have we been shanghaied and shitted on just that simple? Are we already in a box and people throwing red meat through our cave so we can actually eat? Are they actually spoon-feeding us or letting us be who and what we are? One thing I tell people, and I will emphasize on people, that the one level of maturity in life is ownership, possession. Possession, the reason why they say that it's 9/10 of the law in the legal profession is that 9/10 of the law merely says that if you come to court for something and you possess it and you show possession of it, then in fact you own it. So chances of you winning that particular court case is very easy, 9 out of 10 times. So they broke it down to say 9/10 of the law, you know, yada, yada, yada. But if we are ousted that simple, it means that our ignorance is bliss, that across the board we're not paying attention, you know. If I own property somewhere, even if I'm not living where I own property, the number one thing I'm going to do is pay the mortgage, pay the gas, pay the electric, pay the taxes, everything that has to do with the volatility of being rooted in that particular area. As long as my bills are paid, people got to come to me correct, and they have to offer me a fair market value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm renting, if I'm vulnerable, if I show no ownership in that area, then therefore, as far as they're concerned, like you said, when all the bulldozers and the caterpillars and everything that comes up in there that's going to uproot that area, the people that don't have possession aren't connected to anything. It's almost like an artificial plant as opposed to a real plant. And it's very easy to get rid of them. And they know who owns, who don't, whose taxes is behind, whose mortgage is behind, you know. Because it's not about the gas and electric. That gets turned on and off. Water gets turned on and off. It's about the taxes, it's about the mortgage, you know, it's about your homeowners, what do you call that? Your homeowners, HOA, yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Because they get in on it. You know, they, what do you call it, HOA, they get on it. They're in bed with people. You know, they're just hoes waiting to be assigned to what pimp, you know. So, you know, I just think that once we possess and we lock in, you know, and we keep our taxes paid, this way we have more leverage in order to see what's going on and to pay attention. That's what I say when it comes to Washington. In Washington, D.C. right now, this is just my theory going forward to Washington, D.C. I think with all the building and growth, especially in the area of K Street around K, L, and M, I'm not from here, so I'm not really good on that alphabet thing or that state thing they got going on with the street names and everything. But anyway, around K Street and L and M, 2nd and 3rd, they're building all these different areas for these young yuppies to live in, all these huge buildings. But these buildings are being leased, not sold. So therefore, the developers are always going to have the edge on them. Why? Because they're leasing it. Nobody's getting issued a deed or a mortgage. So even though those yuppies is in there spending big mortgage so they can have all the convenience in the world, train station around the corner, they got their little bicycle outside, they can walk their little dog, you know, anything, want to jog, you know the routine. But anyway, all that's set up, but it's set up to do them in as well. But they don't realize it because they think they're between 25 and 35 years old, and they're living a life of Raleigh. They got everything they need in one area. Oh, I don't even need a car. I just call me an Uber. I'm walking my dog. Whenever I want to meet somebody, just walk my dog. When my dog kiss your dog, we talk, and then we date, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. But nobody's winning because the adversary of greed will knock down anybody. They're not just knocking down black people. Don't get it twisted. You know, and they're not they may manipulate white folks in another angle. They may, instead of actually stabbing them in the chest, they'll poison them over time. They'll arsenic them in their hoagie or steak for 4 or 5 days. But they're still getting them also. But we just cannot be ignorant, and we have to show ownership in order to lock in. But it's just my 2 cents, you know. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, you got the mic, so. What's up with the White House firings?
The White House, man, more White House firings. You know, this whole situation here, and Putin. If you look on the other side of this here, Putin is back. The election. I think the election for president is this weekend, and he's walking around, you know, like Saturday Night Live with his shirt off. You know, he's at hockey games. He's doing different things, and this is a 6-year thing coming up. And 6 years is really all you need, because if you look at life right now and look at what's about to come up, the Summer Olympics and the re-election of the president, see, what Trump doesn't realize is that America is being infiltrated from the inside out, you know? And once you get infiltrated from the inside out, I think that's kind of the way that you know, any serious disease or problem gets you in life. And I think Russia's aware of that. And we're just being so manipulated, man. Our president is just tripping. But anyway, in this particular situation here, Trump, his appetite for an ambitious shakeup of his cabinet and other key advisories is already facing headwinds from inside his own administration and the Republicans on the Hill. Now, Trump's nominee to run for the CIA, a lady named Gina Haspel, I think that's how you pronounce it. She's causing heartburn amongst people because amongst the Senate Republicans because of her. She had a role overseeing the integration and the detention program, like in Gitmo and things like that. And she was into that whole waterboarding thing. You know, when you cover somebody's mouth and you pour a bunch of water in there. Like, I don't know if you saw that movie. What was that movie with Liam Neeson where his
Taken?
I think it was Taken 3. Yeah, when his wife had gotten killed. And he was the one who was married to his wife was one accused of it, and he poured water on him and to get him to talk, or they used water and all kind of crap, you know, to get people to talk. But she's in that particular situation. And then you got the gentleman, I can't pronounce his name too tough, Pompeo.
Oh yeah.
Pompeo. So he's one that's due to replace. And all these people had to be nominated. Now, when you go into office as the president, you know, your nominees for different cabinet offices, because they all have to go through the nomination process with the Senate, these people should be going through nominations the same time you're going through inaugurations. That way everybody starts at the same time. So you don't wait till you're in office for a year and a half to start nominating people again. Because what if they get rejected? If this person, Pompeo, gets rejected from being the position that Tillerson had, I mean, what are you gonna do?
He was Secretary of State.
Right? Now you're stuck without Secretary of State for another 3-4 months, and the Secretary of State is the person who goes around to keep the peace. You know, they go around and they're the litigation of the life. You know, the different ones we had was John Kerry, and we had Condoleezza Rice. Mm-hmm. You know, these are people that are supposed to be strong people in the mix that are out there to facilitate anything and keep everything at perspective. And right now, we don't have one. Damn. Who's going to mop the floor? Who's going to clean the toilet if you get rid of the janitor? You could be a hard ass, but damn, the toilet needs to be cleaned. The floor needs to be mopped, for God's sake. You know? You can't just fire the janitor. You know, and this is what's happening here. We're firing people, getting rid of people, and we don't realize that Trump does not realize what role they play, what they represent. And you can't do it all yourself. It reminds me of Satchel Paige, which was a great pitcher for the Negro League. He thought he was so good that he would send the infield and the outfield in because he was good at striking people out. So he would send the outfield in. Yeah, go in the dugout, y'all. I got this. This is Satchel Paige. He would send the infield in. I got this. Sure, he strike out 4 or 5 people, but all somebody had to do was tap the ball over his head. They get a fucking home run because you send everybody in acting all cocky. So, you know, don't roll like Satchel Paige. You know, don't roll like that because.
But you need to call your president and tell him that announcement.
No, that's your boy.
No, that's your boy.
That's your main man.
Not Harley.
Y'all gonna fight over whose boy it is?
Yeah, that's Redwine.
No.
She's straight Republican.
Not me.
All right. Well, if you guys got any questions or comments, hit us up tonight, 914-803-4306.
And press 1.
Yep. I don't mean to get off the subject, but I just had to put this in here. I just saw headlines, the custodian in South Carolina, Aisha Evans. Why is she stealing from the kids? Why? She's stealing from the kids that went down to go march. While they outside marching, their book bags are in the school. She's stealing money. Come on.
Are you serious?
That's so pathetic.
Yep. Aisha Evans, put her on the Kiss It list. Yep. She sold less than $200. Come on. Really?
So she sacrificed her job for $200.
I mean, what sense does that make? It makes no sense at all.
Aisha.
Evans. Wow.
That's so pathetic.
That's isn't that Stevie Wonder's daughter's name?
Yeah, it is, Aisha.
Yeah, on the song, isn't she lovely?
Yep.
All right, well, Kevin, you got the mic up. What's up with the quiz?
So make sure I put on the quit it, hit and quit it. I mean the Kiss It list. Unfortunately, we had a tragedy this week. That new pedestrian bridge collapsed in Miami. It was a 950-ton bridge. It was lifted into place on Saturday in order to provide a safe walkway for Florida International University students. It collapsed at about 1:30 p.m. on Thursday. They had multiple cars, and people were trapped under a newly constructed bridge at Miami's Florida International University. Officials said there are at least 6 fatalities, including 1 student. They don't expect to find any more survivors among the rubble. 10 victims were taken to Kendall Regional Medical Center. And the governor, he says, Rick Scott said investigations are proceeding at the local, state, and federal levels. So he promised to hold anyone accountable if there is evidence of wrongdoing. Interesting. Rescuers in Miami worked through the night into Friday, combing through rubble from newly erected pedestrian bridge. And it says about 100-plus rescuers were on the scene. And, wow, this is crazy. I didn't believe it. I'm like, here we go again, another tragedy. And they said the bridge wasn't even open yet. It wasn't expected to be open until 2020, but they were going to open it as early as 2019 because they were moving so fast on the bridge. So, yeah. Because they did mention a thing called it was an accelerated bridge construction. Is in which most of the structure was built off-site and then moved into place. So it sounds like it was prefab to me, and they brought it there because that's what they're doing with a lot of houses and stuff, making them before they get on site. And that's why they're putting them up so on fast. Yeah. So, because it usually would take almost 10 years to do a bridge. Now it's just like. Probably 2.5 years, probably something like that.
Yeah, they were actually building, or I guess wrapping things up right there beside the bridge. They had an area roped off where they were actually out. I don't know if it's actually building, but I think most of the refrab was coming right there at the area. So the area became a building site as well as a work site. And then they kind of just, when they got done with everything, kind of just moved it over. But it seemed like the weight of that bridge was so heavy. Maybe they did it they made it heavy probably to sustain the crosswinds and things of that nature. But it seems like to me that nobody really took the time to add some the stability factors. But it seemed like that was probably still in the mix and still in the work. Like you said, if it wasn't scheduled to be open for that time frame, it still was things to do. But once you elevated it, once all that weight was elevated, when you don't put the stabilizers in place, I mean, I'm no engineer. So I'm just, this is all hypothetical.
Sounding like an engineer.
No, I just can,
put the stabilizers up
I can run good game.
Oh, okay. I was convinced.
Well,
but I thought I saw. Go ahead.
No, I was just reading in the article when he was talking about that. It goes on to say it was lifted into place on Saturday and was still under construction, with completion to be expected in 2019. So according to the school, support beam and series of support cables had not yet been constructed. So here you're going to lift a bridge of that caliber, like Papa said, and you don't have the proper support cables and the beams ready in place for it. Doesn't make any sense. So it's on nothing. There's nothing that's supporting it.
That's right.
So, it's like a 1, 2, 3. 1, you should have had the cables already there. 2, you're going to put the bridge in place, and then 3, you're going to fasten them, or you're going to make them stable. Now, does that make sense or what?
Yeah, it sounds like they were just cutting corners.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, our number is 914-803-4306 and press 1. If you have any comments on this, and if you are aware of this area or you're familiar with the whole situation.
I have a comment.
You're not allowed. Go ahead, Redwine.
I heard on the news that there was some discussion about this company that was building the bridge had been in trouble before.
With something else,
I
heard
some kind of security, not security, like a safety issue or something from a previous project.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about that, Ketel?
No, I didn't. First I've heard. But what
Yeah,
you know the name of the company?
I think they were called Do We Cheat 'Em and How? I think it was a team of people.
Well, if we find the name of the company, we need to put them on the kiss it list because they messed up big time.
Yeah, that was very sad. And people said it sounded like an explosion when it went down, that it was very horrific. It was crazy.
Well, I'm quite sure they're going to get some engineers or some company. Somebody's going to be the scapegoat. Somebody just didn't do their checks and balances on this. But, yeah. You know what? This might be the name of the construction company. Manila Construction was awarded the $9.3 million bridge project in partnership with FIGG Bridge Group. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, they're the ones who had been cited in the past for some kind of safety violations or something where some employees got injured.
Oh, I hope it's not. Yeah, I hope it wasn't that company over there that Montgomery County, the bridge collapsed over there also. So I hope it wasn't them.
Oh, that transportation center that they've been building for like 40 years?
No, not that. Over there, the Montgomery Mall, it was the parking lot of Montgomery Mall.
Oh, right. I do recall that.
About 5 years ago, yeah. And it collapsed, and it killed one and injured one real bad. That's all. All right, we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah, we're going to take a caller before we slide over to the Hit It and Quit It. So let me pick up this caller. Caller, welcome to the Pajama Party Show. You are on the air. Go ahead with your comment.
Hey, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Fine.
I'm fantastic.
I'm doing well. I just wanted to point out some of the irony in what happened with the bridge collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
The bridge itself had not been open, we know. It was a bridge being built across like an 8-lane highway. But the accelerated technology they used to build it was crafted at Florida International University. It was their patented method of accelerated bridge building.
Okay.
So the school kind of came up with this method. And granted, it's been in use for about 8 years. But they were using their own methods, basically, to build this bridge. What I think is interesting, though, this whole method of accelerated bridge building is so they don't have to close the lanes on roads down here or anywhere in which this method is used. But if they had just closed the road while doing the work they were doing the other day, no one's lives would have been lost.
Yeah. That's true. Wow. That's
that makes a lot of sense.
I think the school is going to have to deal with some culpability on this as well. Because not just because the bridge was being built for them, but this is their technology.
Right. Well, Carl, let me ask you this: is there a neighboring mall or anything around there, like businesses?
There are a few businesses. I don't think the mall is very close, but this was actually a bridge just connecting one side of the campus to the other.
I see. Okay.
And
so where is Sweetwater in relation to the school? They said it was connecting Sweetwater to the main university or something?
Yeah, it's across the bridge. I mean, it's across the highway. So Tamiami Trail is technically I-75. It's just the city piece of I-75. It runs straight up. I mean, it runs parallel for the most part, but basically it's when you're on I-75 and you're on the highway, there's not much to exit, but you can take Tamiami Trail all the way down from Tampa to Miami and run parallel to that highway. And it's a huge road. It starts off as a 4-lane highway and ends up as an 8-lane highway.
Wow.
But it runs, it runs from Tampa through Naples, through all of that, all the way into Miami. But it parallels 75. So it's more or less like driving on 75, but with light.
Now, I understood that the reason why they built this bridge is because a young lady was killed about a year ago trying to cross this highway.
I can imagine that, yes. Because it's let me tell you the equivalent of it. Think of, like I said, I-75 or even 95. You're from the D.C. metro area, so you know, think of Potomac Mill. Think if they put a light right there across 95. That's the equivalent walking across the highway to get from one side of the other to the other. It's a lot of traffic. It's one of the busiest roads in Florida, especially in South Florida. And I think the plan was just to get this done as quickly as possible. Now, granted, we were a year out from the bridge being open.
Right.
But they placed the bridge in 6 hours over the weekend.
Wow.
Right, and probably in reference to not even the stabilizers probably weren't even in place. I mean, it was enough stabilizers to hold it up, but not to sustain it, is what it seems like. You know what I mean? Because I mean, just give me an example. In Levittown, Pennsylvania, which is a town maybe 10 miles from Trenton, New Jersey, there used to be a real shabby, it still is, but they have a local train there called SEPTA. And SEPTA has a stop in Levittown. You go from Trenton, first stop after Trenton is Levittown. Now, Levittown built a big shopping center over there with Walmart and everything, which was a little one-trick pony town. But they built this big shopping center. So now, in just with the shopping center, they're redoing the railroad area. So they took down the platform, and they're building, instead of you stepping down the steps off the train, they got a high platform now, and they're building a overthrow to go over the railroad wires to go on the other side of the track. You used to have to go through a tunnel down below to get across the tracks. But just to make my point, in Levittown, they have not even finished the first side yet. They put the little, what looks like a spiral staircase up and the things there, but they have not yet to go over the railroad yet with the walkover area. And this has been like 6-7 months building this. And I'm saying that to say that these engineers building this railroad overcross thing, going across this, 480 voltage of catenary wire for Amtrak and SEPTA trains, they're taking their time with this. They're not building this like overnight, like this whole Florida thing seems to be. Not only overnight, but trying to build this with fabricate it and all this stuff. That's, you need to build it piece by piece, bolt by bolt, torque wrench by torque wrench. And it seems like the fabrication of things, and I'm going to, in my segment of what's poppin', it's called Where Are We Headed? And it focuses on things like that because it's really getting interesting. And my whole point I'm making is the fact that stuff is just being done so quick today without thought process, and the level of chain of command that makes decisions nowadays, I don't know whether it's just the contradiction is so high that the end result is tragic,
I agree. And, I'm no civil engineer, but my concern is whatever you're building here, you're building on sand. Sand shifts. This is not like regular dirt, which can shift and subside, but sand is constantly moving underneath of us. We have bridges here because the winds are so bad that close during high winds because they're so high in the air. They just won't let you drive the bridges. So I'm not really sure why this accelerated method was chosen. The other side of it for me is the concern I have is they had originally said it was going to take 3 years to build this bridge. So it was going to open in 2020. Why was the decision made to open it in 2019 to prevent stuff like that young girl getting killed on crossing the street without the proper safety precautions in place to prevent what has now happened to, upwards of 10 people have been affected directly by this bridge collapsing. So it's going to be interesting to see where it ends up. I'm really hoping that they figure out that certain things just should not be rushed. And when you're building on a sandbar, you might want to make sure your stuff is stable before you leave it.
You're right about that. Now, I just saw something that said that bridge was built to withstand a Category 5 hurricane and it was supposed to last for at least 100 years.
Correct, but the pieces were built elsewhere.
That. Right.
Well, no, it would have been,
that
but
was
the
what
pieces
they
were
used to promote it. Mhm.
Correct. And but most of our bridges are now being built to those specifications. They're not placed in 6 hours. You know what I mean? This accelerated was something a little different.
Right. They built it to withstand a Category 5 hurricane. Supposed to last 100 years, but then you want to rush and put it up using a prefab method and rushing the whole process. It hadn't been tested thoroughly. None of that was done. And I can't understand in the first place, why would you have traffic moving under a construction zone? Mm-hmm. That really doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
People always tell people don't even walk under a ladder. If somebody's working up on scaffolding or something, it's not even a good idea to walk under that. So if that's the case, if you're going to use caution with that kind of minor stuff, why would you have all that traffic going on business as usual, and they're trying to put up a 950-ton bridge? That just sounds insane from the beginning.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Well, you know what? I'm going to answer you guys' question about why was the bridge going to open early? Money. Mm-hmm. Money. That's why. Because a lot of times they get incentives if they finish the project early. That's why.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, and one more thing, Ketel, in reference to that also, and caller, if you're still there, what I saw also when I looked at the actual model of the thing, I saw that down the middle of the bridge there were tables. There were tables and probably internet connection and Wi-Fi and all these little intricate things on that bridge that, first of all, had nothing to do with that bridge. If you wanted to add that stuff on as it progressed it, but it seems like everything today has to come with the accessory of the accessory of the accessory. Why don't we get the main frame together first? This is the one thing that's changing in America from back in the day and today. You know, nowadays, you know, back in the day, the quality went in before the name went on. And nowadays, it's just the opposite. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Jokers is talking crap before they even educated to even know. And when I saw that model, they showed little mannequins sitting in chairs, you know, at an internet table with the laptop up and things like that. So they kind of had a Wi-Fi thing going down the middle of the walkway. I guess it's in conjunction to the school and all that jazz. But why don't we get the engineering together first and the stabilization right and the cement level for holding the different stabilizing bars. Get all that in perspective before we start thinking about Wi-Fi and connectivity and how we're going to link into the school such and such, and what have you. You know, that's just my opinion.
That's a good point.
You know.
Well,
I think that's what the old folk called before the mule.
Well, to add to that really quickly, and then I will let you all continue with your show. They were planning to open a cafe on the bridge, and my thought process in that is why?
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 Who needs to eat lunch on a bridge?
Mm-hmm.
It's too much. Yeah, you're right. That's just too much.
You got exhaust fumes and everything coming up from below. Why would you want to sit up there and eat?
You know, and who was going to run the cafe? Habib, right? He would have won the contract. He would have sold his Danish and his coffee. Come up, you. I'm Habib. You know, I mean, no disrespect. I'm not talking about people, but you know. That's who would have won. They would have came with a big old suitcase of money, and they would have won the contract to put the run the restaurant. And now you got another Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. You know.
Yeah,
where are we? Where are we?
I don't know. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, caller. Well, thank you for joining the conversation.
We got extended on that particular one.
Yeah, that was a good topic. We appreciate you joining us.
So where are you calling from, caller, by the way?
Central Florida.
All right.
Oh,
all right,
Florida.
Florida. Shout out.
Does 75 run parallel with 95?
Not exactly. It does in some parts of the state, but it's about an hour from each other, maybe an hour and 20 in some places.
Okay.
But it's on the west side, whereas 95 is on the east side.
Yeah, I took it for a few
minutes.
Getting on Route 10, I rode it for a little while. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for the call.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right.
We're gonna take
Shout out to Florida.
We're gonna take a little CC break, and
what are we coming back with?
We'll come back with hit it and quit it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
This is Ketel.
And this is Redwine.
If you like news, but you like the weirdest kind,
you're in the right place. Join us every Friday night
for the Pajama Party Weird News.
We find stories each week about some of the strangest and oddest news stories around.
If there's ghosts driving, stupid criminals getting caught, or just bizarre medical stories,
we report it right here on the Pajama Party Weird News.
It's funny and informative, and we look forward to it every week.
And you will too.
If you like weird news like we do,
join us every Friday night on the Pajama Party Show.
It's a weird world out there, and we'll tell you all about it.
Right here on the Weird News,
where we celebrate the weirdness.
All right, welcome back to the Pajama Party. I'm one of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
All right, and Redwine.
Darling. It's Friday night and I'm feeling all right. Don't hate.
You're a reincarnation of a Mexican jumping bean. Anyway. Let's see. Our next story in our Hit It and Quit It category has to do with Toys R Us.
What you got?
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Oh, poor baby. You better grow up soon.
How did this thing
They about to be done.
We have such and such for stuff.
Got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
First of all, my question is, what am I going to do with all the Jeffrey dollars I got left in my strong box?
They already said if you got it, spend them up.
Jeffrey dollars. What a legacy. What a store. Now, this is what really inspired my decision to talk about where are we headed in the segment of What's Poppin', because anytime we lose in a toy store, I tell you what, our kids are preoccupied with something else. Something else is going on, man. All right, I'm going to tell you right now. All right, anyway, Toys R Us is planning to either close or sell all of more than 800 stores across the United States. Now, they didn't say they're closing overseas. And this is Toys R Us now. Nobody said anything about Babies R Us. So I think Babies R Us is still surviving. Haven't heard anything on them yet. But Toys R Us traditionally is closing. Okay? The company is shopping a plan that could ultimately save roughly 200 stores from going dark if it's able to find a buyer. Okay? By buyer meaning to buy the store but still, allow it to maintain the name and what have you. Just keep the tradition going. This could be in conjunction with saving the Canadian businesses. So Toys R Us is all over the place. Over in Europe, they were in Canada, United States. Toys R Us has already begun liquidating about 180 stores under both the Toys R Us and Babies R Us banner.
Oh, it's
all right? And as part of the reconstruction efforts to retrieve the business, the retailers filed for bankruptcy protection last September, which weighed down by nearly $5 billion in debt. So most recently, the company has struggled to pay on loans. The lenders have been pushing management to purge a complete liquidation in the United States in their businesses. The abrupt shattering of Toys R Us, a massive store fleet, will leave a chunk of vacant real estate on the market. All right? Now, this is where other things go now. Landlords will be scrambling to find tenants. So which goes to show you that even though these stores are big like that, they're still paying rent in their particular prospective lots. Mm-hmm. So maybe that has something to do with their tumble. You know what I mean? Because
those are big stores.
You're making money. You might as well move somewhere where you can have your own situation. I tell people the one thing in business really is ownership, I think, initially. I think that will set you up a little stronger to know you got your own little segment as opposed to. But as you can see, big business also still rents, like anybody else. All right, so many of Toys R Us stores today are leased back to a separate entity created by the company, Toys R Us, with their properties and company, and they're doing franchising and things like that. So a few of their stores are franchised and things like that. So according to real estate analysts, the likely scenario for many of these spaces will include a remodeling of multi-occupancies, most of your Toys R Us places. The tenants would have to find companies that are big enough to occupy some of these huge buildings that Toys R Us was occupying. So they're saying that that once that once Toys R Us closed their doors, a lot of landlords would go under because they were living and relying on collecting rent from these big stores in their lots. And now, who are you going to get to rent a store that was like, oh my goodness, almost an acre, a half acre large? So, and who will come along? Home Depot, Lowe's.
Yeah, those are the only ones big enough.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those sporting goods stores.
Or it could be the Vietnamese or Korean nail salon.
They're not
making
that
a
big.
ton of money off you black women. Off you black women. Anyway. Just making so much money off the black women. Let's buy Toys R Us.
Okay.
Anyway, but that's the situation there. They're looking for either Dick's Sporting Goods or Best Buys to buy up their big box stores. So landlords right now are talking to places like Best Buys, and which I think Best Buys is the next door on a chopping block. So don't get it twisted. You heard it here first, because I don't think the Best Buys sells anything anybody needs anymore. I think that that Geek Squad is a bunch of bullshit. Okay, these little cats, little white guys with white shirts and top hats. Really? If you fall or fell for one of them little geeks to come in your house to fix your stuff from Best Buys, you are crazy as a bedbug, no disrespect. Anyway. Best Buys is the next chopping block. You heard it from here first. Anyway.
All right. Well, I got one on National Geographic. The National Geographic editor has admitted that over the years they have done some of the most racist coverage in that magazine. And now this current editor has admitted it and has taken responsibility and says they're going to do better. So
50 years later.
Yeah. So we'll see. Because in the past, what happened was they were getting ready to do an edition, and they gave the assignment to one of the editors and said, go back, because we want to talk about race in America. Go back to some previous editions and see what we've done, and let's, come up with something for this, like, anniversary type issue. And when they went back and looked, they said that the current editor said, her name is Susan Goldberg, she said she was appalled. She was just speechless at the stuff that she found with respect to people of color. And what they said is that she said the appalling stories from the magazine's past just left her speechless, and they wanted to devote the April magazine to the topic of race, so that's what made them go back and look at their own history of what they've reported. Mm-hmm. And she went on to call out that they have shown what they call natives from other countries, not black people in America or people of color in America, but people of color in other countries, that they refer to them as natives, exotics, and a lot of times they showed them naked or partially naked, called them happy hunters, noble savages, other types of savages, and she said in any other kind of cliche you could imagine.
Yeah.
And the description of the Aborigine people from Australia back in their 1916 edition, and when they called them savages, that ranked lower in intelligence of all human beings, she said was a particularly appalling example. So she said that their 50th anniversary edition that covered the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination on April 4th provided a worthy moment to step back and take stock of where we are on the issue of race. And she wants future editions to be, not like they were in the past. So when they look back again, years from now, they won't be as appalled by what they see. So I guess I can say shout out to the editor, Susan Goldberg, for recognizing the racist bull crap that they've been pumping for the years and years, and trying to make it better. That's all I got.
You know what's so funny that this outfit, talking about National Geographic, my uncle, my mother's brother, he was an Air Force retiree, and he was big into everything. And he had a subscription to National Geographic for years. He was an Air Force guy, traveled all over the world. And I think National Geographic, as interesting as you said, it was also the book where I really got my first Woody. It's crazy. You know, because I would
National Geographic.
National Geographic, you know. I mean, you go in there and you look, and when it came to the African women, you open up the section that had African women, and like titties were everywhere. It was crazy. And I was like 10 years old. Open up the book, and it's like the disrespect was just like unbelievable.
Well,
I mean, I'm speaking reality. I'm speaking reality. It was crazy. These people was like, they were told, they would just picture, and I could picture it in my mind, how the blatancy of African women in Africa, completely clad, because this is 100-degree weather there, you know, 190-degree weather every day, and this is how they dress. But National Geographic used to get all up on it and just take pictures of everything. There was no barometer of any aspect of any censorship or anything. It was just off the chain.
It was a free-for-all.
And you probably couldn't even find those books now because they're probably trying to snatch them up, and they're trying to recall and buy out so they could just like not show just how vicious they were when it came to looking at the African woman and just like showing it was, oh my God, I can't even begin to talk about how blatant it was with the exposure of the naked African woman's body. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and they're deep. Oh, believe me, my uncle had a whole array. His whole basement was lined with all the books, like library-wise. I mean, they're very educational books, very educational. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you sit back and read them, they got deep. They went all over the world. Between National Geographic and Jacques Cousteau, hell, you learned so much with them two jokers.
That's true.
You know.
All right.
But yeah, they didn't stop with that. But
well, we'll keep an eye on them and see if they actually do better. Stop referring to people of color as savages.
Yeah, but you know, there's so many publications today, you're not going to notice. You know, just gazillion. They're back in the midst of, you know.
I'm going to keep one eye on them. All right, Ketel, I'm going over to you. What's going on?
All right. Back to your boy again. The European Union releases list of the U.S. products that could face the tariffs. I mean, we're talking about some big money, and this list is crazy. They're getting into my category, whiskey. The European Union published a list of U.S. products. It plans to introduce duties on if the 28-nation bloc is not exempted from your president, Donald Trump, steel and aluminum tariffs. The list contains dozens of products, including breakfast food, kitchenware, clothing and footwear, washing machines, textiles, whiskey. Wait a minute now. Motorcycles, boats, and batteries. They are worth around 2.8 billion euros, which is equivalent to $3.4 billion U.S. dollars in trade annually. So the list could grow to the equivalent of 6.4 billion euros, which is probably double the 3.4 billion in regular money, once the full extent of the impact of U.S. tariffs is known. The European Union Executive Commission gave European industry stakeholders 10 days to object if they fear that any products targeted for rebalancing tariffs would hurt their business. Trump announced last week that he was imposing tariffs of 25% on imported steel and 10% on aluminum. He temporarily exempted big steel producers like Canada and Mexico, which provided they agreed to renegotiate a North American trade deal. So he's exempting them because of that. But if they come up with this trade deal, he would. Also, the EU insists that it is committed to open global trade and that Trump's tariffs are measures to prop up U.S. industry, which could undermine the global trading system. So this tariff thing is big business, or it's going to hurt a lot of businesses. That's what it seems like. So I just hope everything goes smoothly, or, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see some crunches somewhere in different areas, especially the stock market. The stock market went crazy as soon as he said he was going to put some tariffs on the country. So.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And I think what's sad is that he doesn't seem to understand that if you basically the same thing that he goes by, if you slap him, he's going to slap you back. If you slap these tariffs on people, they're going to slap you back. They're not going to just sit back and go, "Oh wow, that's messed up." They're not going to do that.
That's true.
You're not going to just put additional fees and stuff on people and think they're just going to say, "All right, well, suck it up. Trump said it, so there it is." It's not going to happen.
Right. I agree.
And
they're going to go back and forth.
But he said that this is somehow supposed to help the American steel and aluminum industry, and I don't understand how.
Mm-hmm.
How is that supposed to help the American industry? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess more money. Make us great again, as he says.
Yeah, well, we won't even talk about that topic. But anyway, all right, I'm going back over to you, Papa. What else you... Dylan Roof's sister. What's going on now with his sister? That's that crazy situation.
First of all, Dylan Roof is a gentleman that killed the 9.
Gentleman?
Yeah, well, for lack of a better word.
The dude.
He was the guy who killed the 9 people at the church in South Carolina. All right? That sat amongst them and listened to their prayer and their worship, and then pulled out a gun and just flat blasted everyone. And then he left one alive to tell the story. Mm-hmm. Now, how vicious is his ass? His sister's accused of having weapons at a school during the national walkouts. Okay? Now, this show you this family is just twisted. The younger sister of Dylan Roof, the mass killer, like I explained, who killed the people in the historic church in South Carolina, her name was Morgan. Okay, Morgan Roof. She's an 18-year-old student at the AC Florida High School in Columbia, South Carolina. She was charged with possession of marijuana, 2 counts of carrying a weapon on school grounds, according to the state troopers. All right? An administrator at the school alerted a school resource officer that a student on campus had made a threatening racist Snapchat post and brought pepper spray and a knife to the school.
Yeah.
All right? The Richland County Sheriff's Office later confirmed that it was a student, Morgan Roof, sister of the alleged killer of 9 people in South Carolina. Now, tell me, you talking about the apple not falling far from the tree, okay? This family is just some twisted, sick jokers. Just twisted, sick. It's crazy, and I don't know. I think that if her brother was so crazy and now, we could throw 1,000, but her Snapchat post criticized her classmates at the Florida High School for participating in a nationwide student walkout in protest of the gun violence on Wednesday. Okay, the protest was being held on the 1-month anniversary of the horrific mass shooting that left 17 people dead in the Stoneman Douglas High School, which is in an area called Parkland, Florida. Okay, and this is what she said, and I quote, she said, "I hope that it's a trap and they all get shot when they walk out the door to protest this." Okay? She wrote that, and she posted on her or Snapchat or whatever the situation was, and she said, "We know it's fixing to be nothing but black people walking out anyway." So,
wow.
This is just very interesting because, you really can't get excited about it. All you can do is try to understand it, because when people are mentally corrupted like that, it just shows that their childhood had to be absolutely horrendous. And I think that our young black people or our young black children that have to be in conjunction with her and people like her with all the beautiful teachings they have from their parents, they should not even begin to try to understand this person. I think the one thing they should do is avoid this person. When this person goes right, you go left. This person goes up, you go down. This person comes up, you go under. You know, there's no way I would, if the person's going to go in the bathroom, I would hold it until she came out of the bathroom. My association with this person would be very few and far between, and as old folks say, I'd feed her with a long-handled spoon. It's just that simple. I mean, don't even try to, or don't come to her like you're going to try to cultivate her or turn her back into something. Are you kidding me? She's been damaged, honey. She's been greased, floured, and dipped in hot grease, honey. Anyway, that's just my
Yeah, that's a mess. Well, I'm going to hit this last one so we can get off the hit it and quit it. Speaking of damaged goods, a lawsuit has been filed against Sunset Mesa owner Megan Hess, alleging that she received, her lawsuit was against the funeral home, saying that the ashes that she got were not her husband's ashes. And this guy was a former Marine, died at the age of 81. She gave the body to this funeral home and wanted him cremated and to get the ashes back. But when she got the ashes, she said, this is not the ashes of my husband. She thought and accused that the funeral home sold the body parts of her husband and did whatever and gave her back something else that was not the ashes of her husband. Turns out this funeral home was running like a body broker company that they called Donor Services, and this lady's husband is among dozens of people in this remote Rocky Mountain town in Colorado, I believe, Colorado, who were saying they're concerned about what happened to their friends and family who were handled by this woman, Hess, at this funeral home. So the bottom line is that there was some funny business going on at this place, and apparently in Colorado, as in a lot of other states, you can operate a body broker firm legally, but you can't do it out of the same facility as a funeral home and a crematory because that's illegal. Which makes sense. That's like you doing too much all under the same umbrella, two similar types of business. So the order has been given to shut down these people. Regulators found out that this woman who ran the funeral home had failed to maintain the required cremation records going back 5 years, and all the final disposition records for at least 7 years. She failed to maintain those. They also said that she had disposed of bodies before getting the required permits. In one case, the people did a test on the ashes that they received back and found out it was nothing but concrete. These were not even human remains. It was concrete. They literally took a bag of concrete, dumped it in a vase or urn or something, and gave it to a family and said, here's the remains of your loved one, because they had done whatever, sold the body parts or something. I guess, I don't know what they do with it as far as the body parts. I don't know. But it freaks me out to know that this is even going on. I didn't know that this kind of stuff went on. You send your body of your loved one to a facility, and they give you back something, and you trust that these are the ashes of your loved one.
Yeah,
so now
crazy.
the FBI has gotten involved because they got so many calls about this facility. After the facility got shut down, the FBI set up a hotline and said if anybody else in that area in Colorado has any questions or concerns about, services that they receive there, give them a call. I'm just so appalled, and I'm putting them on the kiss it list. I have to say, who does that? You're going to give somebody concrete, and you've done whatever with that person's body? That's some shady stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's yeah. I can't even fathom that.
Shady. All right, well, that's it for the hit it and quit it. We're gonna take a break, or you want to keep rolling?
No, we can take a break.
All right, we're gonna take a break. I can't even say it. I guess I'm cut off. Take a break.
Yep.
I know. Take a break. Refill my glass, and we're coming back with Poppa DD and What's Poppin'. You're listening to a Pajama Party show on Blog Talk Radio.
What's your opinion? We want to know on the late night adult pajama party. Call us now on 914-803-4306 and tell us if you agree or disagree, or if you don't care one way or the other. If you've been waiting all week to tell somebody what's on your mind, now is your chance. Dial 914-803-4306 and press 1 to speak with the Pajama Party live on the air. To listen to the show online, go to www.apajamaparty.com and click the listen banner on the top right. If you'd like to advertise your business with us, get in touch on www.apajamaparty.com. So call us now on 914-803-4306 and press 1. We will get to you as quick as we can. Now, back to the Pajama Party Live.
Okay, welcome back to Pajama Party. One of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
And Redwine. She's back in the pantry.
I'm thirsty.
Thirsty, yeah. Thirsty where you say, hi, I'm Redwine. Hi, Redwine. And one of those kind of things. She's thirsty for that. Anyway, what's popping tonight, I want to talk about, the subject I want to use is called Where Are We Headed, you know? And it's so ironic that we touched on subjects tonight that had to do with the whole aspect of where we are today in the world. You know, we talked about how the housing industry and how you could be flim-flammed by a society of people. They go in an office and they come up with a plan, and then they go out and initiate a plan. But the sad part about it is that usually when people come up to a plan to manipulate something, black people are always on the other end of that, you know? And it's not so much that we've dealt with racism for 400 years that it still comes at us in full bloom, you know? And I think that our vulnerability and our niceness and who we are made of, what we're made of and how we are raised, our kindness always makes people take our kindness for weakness. And we get victimized in every aspect, you know, and it's really sad because on the back end of things, you know, we live and we die. There's really no in between, you know, and no matter what you do, who you manipulate. I've heard of many people that retired from a job after 20, 30 years. When they sit on their porch in their rocking chair looking at people go by because they're done in their work career, you ask them about their job, and all they can ever say is that all the job market was all in a day's work. You know, that's all it was. That's all it represented. It wasn't nothing special. It wasn't nothing unique. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And we got to think back on what we were in the job market, whether we were the facilitators of labor or the facilitator of leadership or overseeing or being a boss or what have you. Because, I mean, I know a few asshole bosses right now myself. And I wonder what they would say maybe 10 years from now when we're both retired and I see you at the mall and you look worse than I do, okay? And you're being you were my boss, you're making, let's say, $20,000 more a year in retirement money, $30,000 more a year, or $40,000 more a year in retirement money, but you look worse than I do because you were so busy chasing money, chasing disrespecting everything that has to do with real life. And I see you in a Lowe's 15 years from now, and we're both retired, and I'm chilling and I'm happy, and you look like, you know, death warmed over. You know, you got to wonder, you know, what was your value in life and what did you get out of life on the back end? Because life is so short, and all we can do in life is sit back and think about the middle part, because all we really can focus on is the beginning and the end. But the middle is really where everything is, where everything goes on. And what we do and how we behave in that middle area really is what justifies our legacy. So if your boss is an asshole now, treating you like crap and think they got it going on, then that's the legacy they're going to leave for themselves. And chances are they'll be with themselves at the end of the day. But just to reiterate on one more thing on here is the fact that, like Redwine was saying about these funeral homes and people doing things like that, you know, when you become a one-trick pony in the business world, meaning all you're trying to do is flim-flam that one client, one client at a time, which means your aspect of customer service is out the damn window. All you want to do is go for the big fish all the time and take them in. Because, death is a very vulnerable time frame for a lot of people. And not only are we you really don't really possess a lot of smartness during the time of one of our beloved's death. We develop a lot of vulnerability at the time, and we take people at their word. We take the church at their word. We take the funeral directors at their word. We take everybody at their word because we think that when we take an insurance policy and we give them a few $1,000s, they're going to give us a good service because we're just trying to, during our mourning period, is lay our people to rest accordingly. And we're not thinking at the time because our heart is broken in most cases. It's usually after the fact or something is completely obvious that wakes us up and say, damn. And we get pissed off because this happened to our beloved. So it's very interesting how people manipulate you all the way from taking you from your house by trying to build some new stuff in society, all the way to when your ass die to the fucking grave site, manipulating your loved ones so you can get screwed in life and death. It's crazy. Anyway.
All right. Getting deep tonight. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, huh? All right, I feel you. I give you snaps for that.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to lighten it up and go into the weird news.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, my favorite.
You get this cheap old lemonade.
Anyway, the weird news. Am I up first? Yeah, I'm up first. Okay, I got one for you out of Mexico City. Mexico seizes mezcal bottles with snakes and reptiles inside. Yeah. So forget about the worm at the bottom of your bottle of mezcal. Mexican environmental inspectors have found whole boas, like boa constrictors, and iguanas stuffed into bottles of mezcal at a market in the southern state of Oaxaca. Is that how you pronounce it? Oaxaca?
I'm not going.
Oaxaca. Oaxaca. The wide-mouth bottles were filled with what they call artisanal wild agave, which is a type of tequila, mezcal, that was apparently meant to be drank, even though it'd probably be because somebody bet you that you wouldn't do it. The Federal Office for Environmental Protection said on Tuesday it seized 15 bottles with species including a blood snake, a ridgehead snake, a yellow belly snake, and a whip snake. This is all stuffed in a bottle of tequila. Unbelievable.
Sounds like something Ketel would drink.
Don't even try it. Kiss it. I'm going to put you on the kissing list. Uh-huh. Think I wasn't looking in the dust.
There you go. It said for decades, college students have been drinking or eating the worm at the bottom of some bottles of mezcal. And the worms were originally added either for taste or to prove that the drink was authentic. And the sale of wildlife, even if it's pickled, is strictly regulated in Mexico. You can't get iguanas pickled and all that crazy stuff. It's against the law.
It's against the law to kill an iguana, from what I heard from people.
It should be.
From Pakistan.
They're beautiful creatures.
Pakistan and
they're beautiful.
Panama.
I don't want one, but they are beautiful. All right.
Okay.
Keep it rolling.
You done?
I'm done. I just wanted to tell you about the snakes in a bottle. Okay. They're not on the plane. They're in a bottle.
Well, in another story, police say that the Indiana man took a taxi to and from a bank robbery. Wow.
Oh, my God.
How about that? Evansville, Indiana. The Associated Press reported this here, so it's I guess it's real. Police say a 19-year-old Indiana man took a cab to and from a bank robbery that he had paid the driver. He paid the driver some of his stolen cash.
Good grief.
Okay. His name is Dietrich Fina. He was arrested less than an hour. Damn.
What's his name? He's going on the kissing list for being stupid.
I'm sorry, Derek Fina, F-E-R-I, Feria. Yeah, Derek Feria. He was arrested less than an hour after Thursday's robbery of the Fifth Third National Branch in Evansville, Indiana. The Evansville Carrier Press report that Feria, his last name, reportedly passed a teller a note and demanded money, but he didn't show a weapon. All right, so Feria is being held at the Vandenberg County Jail on a preliminary charge of robbery and possession of drug paraphernalia. Okay.
Did they include stupidity on?
No, but he didn't show a gun, so there's no gun charges here, which is good. That'll
but
save
who takes a taxi
4 or
to
5
go
years.
rob a bank?
All right, but let me finish this here. Check it out. The court records show that Ferreira hadn't been formally charged as of Friday morning. They didn't list an attorney for him. That's all he had to say on that. But like they said, the teller said that she didn't see any weapon or anything like that, which would probably help him in this particular case.
Yeah, at least it won't be armed robbery.
But he did found drug paraphernalia on him, but she goes to show that he was not sober when he did it.
You gotta be high. They say I'm gonna go rob a bank, but I'm gonna take a cab.
And then the cab driver is just as high as he was. If you want to.
He said, "How much is it? Wait, let me take the band off of this money. I'll pay you with that."
No, but if you're going to wait for someone to get done robbing a bank, and they
God.
come out with anxiety and all kind of stuff, how you feel after the fact, and they reach in the bag and they pay you with stolen money.
He jumped in the car like, go, 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 go.
Well, I just think that the cab driver was on crack just as much as he was.
Wow. All right, Ketel, you got the last weird news. What you got for us tonight?
I'm still laughing on that story Papa just gave us. That shit was funny. I would have to let him out the cab and be like, you got to go. I'm not going to be no accessory.
He was just as desperate as the other guy.
I guess so. A Romanian court tells man he is not alive. Okay. Romanian court has ruled that a 63-year-old man is dead despite what would appear to be convincing evidence to the country, the man himself appearing alive and well in court. Okay.
Wait a minute. So the man is the man dead or alive?
He's alive. He's walking dead. His name is Constantine Relly. Asked the court in the town of Barlet to overturn a death certificate obtained by his wife. Some hanky-panky going on with his wife after he had spent more than a decade in Turkey, during which time he was out of contact with his family. The court told him he was too late and would have to remain officially deceased. He says, I'm officially dead, although I'm alive. He told the local media outlet, he said, I have no income, and because I am listed dead, I can't do anything. So what had happened was he went to Turkey in 92 to seek employment. He last returned to the country in 99 and appears to have cut off all contact with his family. After years of silence from her estranged husband, the wife obtained a backdated death certificate for him. His wife had argued in court that having heard nothing from her husband since 99, she had assumed he had died in an earthquake while in Turkey. Okay. So,
really?
So the paper said that Relly believes she sought the death certificate in order to annul the marriage and allow her to remarry. So,
yeah, that does sound a lot of fishy.
Yeah, she did some back work there. She assumed that he was there because of some earthquake in Turkey, but he didn't. I mean, I don't know what happened. Why he didn't get in contact with his family, I'm not sure. That's a good question. So the only way they found out was, okay, he may never have found out about his death in his homeland had he not been apprehended by Turkish authorities early this year and deported back to his Romanian because of expired documents. So he had planned to renew his passport in Romania and return to Turkey. See what I'm saying? See, he didn't even try to contact his family. But on arrival, he was detained by immigration officers who informed him he had died in 2003. Okay. I'm confused now, but that's a crazy story. But it just sounded like they were mad at each other. So he's like, I'm leaving for work to go head to work, and that's it. He never got in contact with her. So I mean, shit. He said, okay, I'm gonna get a death certificate and say you did. Bye, Felicia.
That is crazy. So he was staying incognito wherever he was. She declared him dead wherever she was. And then he showed up and said, honey, I'm home. And she said, you're dead.
Bye.
Okay. And that's why it's the weird news.
Yes.
I don't think that could happen in the U.S., but then again, you never know.
You never know. He'd probably go to another court. I mean, I guess he's just going to go under another name. You know, that name is deceased. He had to start all over like he's a baby.
Yeah, but that means, well, anyway, I'm not even going to try to analyze that. It's the weird news for a reason. All right, well, if you want to join the conversation, it's, what's the number, Ketel?
914-803-4306. Press 1.
All right, press 1. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're coming right back with me. And I'm just saying.
Hey, this is Poppa DD. Join me on Friday nights live at the Pajama Party Adult Online Radio Talk Show. And don't miss my segment called Living for the City and What's Poppin'.
Hey, and join me. This is Redwine with the long stem. And I've got the hot topics in my commentary called I'm Just Saying. And don't forget, the cocktail of the week for me, Ketel with the yellow top. I got the Hollywood wrap-up along with Weird News. And don't forget, we've got the Kisser list. That's for the people who get on our last nerves and you want us to call them out.
So join us on Blog Talk Radio for the Pajama Party.
Every Friday night at 9 p.m. on the East Coast and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Go to apajamaparty.com to listen online or follow us on Twitter at apajamaparty. Call us live, 914-803-4306. And don't forget to press 1.
Now let's get back to the show.
Hey, what happened to the snack tray or the bartender?
Does he want to see my slippers?
I'll call it room service.
Hey, welcome back to Pajama Party. I'm one of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello, I'm Ketel.
All right, Kettles is from our Short Yellow Bus Society, and Redwine. Redwine comes in from the alcohol abuse side.
And this is why Poppa DD is on the kiss it list. Exactly why. Anyway, it's time for I'm Just Saying.
And they're both perfect for the job.
And tonight, you need to stop. You just need to stop. I'm going to call Melwood and tell him, will you? What was I saying? Oh, I was saying, I'm just saying. See, he got me all thrown off now. Tonight, I'm just saying, do we have to bark to get some action? That's my question tonight. Is that what it takes? Do we have to bark just to get some action? So, the death of a French bulldog on a United Airlines flight, which we all heard about
he was cute.
repeatedly this week, has prompted a policy change by United Airlines and motivated 2 U.S. senators to propose legislation protecting pets traveling by air. Now, the dog died on a 3.5-hour flight from Houston to New York after the flight attendant instructed the dog's owners to put the carrier holding the pet into the overhead bin because the carrier didn't fit under the seat. Now, this just happened this week, and the legislation was introduced this week. Imagine that. Somebody in Congress actually moved on something that they thought was important, and they got the job done to protect the dogs and the cats. But what about the people? Can we get some gun legislation passed? Do we have to bark to get some laws to protect us from mass murderers on the loose running around with automatic guns? Is that what it takes? Got to be a dog? I'm just saying. Senator John Kennedy, who's a Republican from Louisiana, and Catherine Cortez Masto, who's a Democrat from Nevada, filed this legislation on Thursday aiming to prohibit airlines from putting animals in the overhead baggage compartment. Now, the bill was dubbed the Welfare of Our Furry Friends Act. Now, keep in mind, again, this just happened this week. The dog died this week, which was tragic. It was all over the news. And before the week even ended, new legislation had been introduced to make sure that this wouldn't happen again, at least not according to the law. They were going to make it a law, so, you know, if you do it again, you would have a law to penalize you, right? So I guess because there's no lobbyists getting in the way, paying senators money to get their votes and get their causes out and all that stuff, none of that was in play with this particular act. The only thing these senators stood to gain was good public relations and make their conscience feel better. So it's a win-win situation. And I hope they did it for the right reasons and not just for the optics of it. But my point is, why can't we get them to move on gun legislation like this? Can't they move past all the lobbyists and the NRA and do the right thing for the American people? Do we have to bark to get some reciprocity? I'm just saying. This just shows me that Democrats and Republicans, in this case it was a Democrat and a Republican, that got together on this legislation. So it proves that Democrats and Republicans can actually work together if they want to. And they can accomplish something if they want to. That's all I'm saying. This is Redwine, and I'm just saying. Do you have to bark to get Congress to pay attention to you? That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, that was
Okay. That was a good one, Redwine. Good one.
I mean, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's just retarded. Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. That's a good one.
All right.
I like that. That was a good one.
I'm just asking. All right, I'm going to kick it back over to Poppa DD and Living for the City. What you got for us tonight?
Well, just so you know, there was a little mouse years ago, which was part of a story back when I grew up at home with the family. We had what's called a Victrola, which plays a 78 record, so you turn on the side, you know, and you put the needle down. And the Spanish people had a song out about a little mouse called Popito. And Popito was the name of the dog that died on the plane, the little puppy.
Oh.
It was a Spanish family that lost a dog. They couldn't even speak English. And the dog's name was named after a famous mouse in Spanish nursery rhymes called Popito. Anyway,
Okay.
only because I used to listen to that when I was little myself, Popito. Popito's a little mouse.
Okay, so Living for the City. What's going on in the city?
You know, I'm just make this brief. I just want to say that I am so proud of the children of this particular March situation, because children aren't children forever. And high school children, as you all know, all you old folks I'm surrounded with right now, as you all know, that when you were in high school, those were the best times of your life. Those were the most vulnerable times, as well as your most adventurous times. It was a time when you took risks, where you knew that you would bounce back. Your skin was made of a nice, strong leather, and all you had to do was wash your face to look good. Now, Redwine, she's got to go under major construction just to get it right. Anyway,
Really?
How you doing?
You are so
You my girl. Anyway, but anyway, the children stepped up big time, because, you know, in a couple of years, things are going to change by 2020, and this is very close. We're looking at the latter side of March, because we're past the 15th, and we're hitting the first quarter ending of the year. January, February, March, then April, May, June, then July, August, September, then October, November, December. We're ending the last quarter of the end of the first quarter of the year. Now, in 2 years, a lot of these students will be of voting age. and the election will come to play in 2020, November, to reelect or to, if Trump's even around, who knows? God only knows what the future brings. But I'm so glad to see these students get out there now and get their feet wet in society and understand what's happening and see the defiance of the world. Because the world has a lot of defiance based on people's interests and based on people's power. When people got power, the main thing they do with their power is to deny you things that you should be able to do, which goes back to the beginning of our show when it comes to D.C. and housing and things like that. People got power, if you think they have power. Knowing people have power, thinking people have power is just as horrible as being starstruck. If you think you're a star yourself, then you won't be struck by stars. You'll say, oh, wow, there's such and such, Chris Rock. Wow, okay, you won't freak out, because he's human just like you. But getting back to the children will be the one that has to pay all this debt that we're creating right now. And we're creating a lot of debt. Anything that has to go on with anything, budgets or whatever, we just go to the print machine and print more money, print more money, print more money. But after a while, somebody's got to pay for that. And chances are it's the class of 2020 and the class of 2021. So therefore, when everybody else is 4 years older, they'll just be beginning life. And I just want to thank and wish them the best of luck, the best of success, to make the right choices, to understand things going on, because they're still trying to be manipulated. I'm going to end it here. You got some teachers and everything that were allowing the kids to go out there and march like they wanted to do for that little 17 minutes, but then you have some schools that was restricting them. And why were they restricting them? Because those are the same white ring people out there that are being influenced by, like you said, Redwine, lobbyists and things like that. Mm-hmm. These are their parents. Their parents is already locked in with the bullshit. So what they telling the kids, don't do that, don't do that. Even in Maryland, D.C., what area is that? Loudoun County, I think that's in Virginia. Mm-hmm. Loudoun County said, don't you dare leave this damn school. Okay? Different counties are doing that because these are counties that are completely under Republican rule. And they know that if they release stuff, then that's going to repercussions of them getting money for the schools or wherever that little money from the side. And remember, Sharmshack Redemption, just go to that little tombstone in the cemetery, look behind the tombstone, there's a Maxwell House can full of money. It's out there. So opposition is everywhere. It's amazing. So kids, keep doing your thing, keep marching, keep your head up, and God bless your strength.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's shift gears and go out to the West Coast and get the Hollywood wrap up with Ketel. Okay, there you go.
All right now. We're gonna give Poppa DD a bone. Watch out now.
Yeah. So what's happening in La La Land?
Well, it's a good segue what Poppa DD's talking about. I'm going to get right into it. The Hollywood in 2018, the old order ends and a new one rises. Change is about to come barreling through the established order of Hollywood, leaving companies in pieces, shattering long-accepted norms, and anointing a new set of power brokers. It will be a time of disruption and transition. There's three major things that are going on right now. The end of the major studios. Two major mergers are hanging in the balance. The AT&T and a question of the Time Warner and Disney's purchase of Fox's movie and TV assets. Both signal an end to the major studio systems that has reigned for more than 50 years. So a new era of consolidation at the topmost levels of entertainment and media. Up for discussion are whether CBS and Viacom will ultimately remerge and whether Sony will let its own entertainment assets go. I doubt it. Also, too, the new order. We know who the merging power players are now. Facebook, Google, Netflix, Apple, and Amazon. For years, Netflix CEO Hastings has led a rising challenge to the Time Warner CEO Jeff Bezos. Now Bowles is set to retire as soon as the AT&T deal closes, and Hastings just got a $30 million stock grant to keep his growth going. Wow. So in the last 3 months, Netflix has continued to swell in size with a market cap now $83 billion with a B, making it bigger than many media companies besides Disney, including Time Warner. Wow, Netflix is everywhere. And third, the indies. In the world of independent studios, the business models are scary and the future rocky. Lionsgate has already merged with Starz after completing an earlier merger with Summit. Wow. It's unclear if this new move makes that company big enough to compete. Wow. And it's also unclear if Fox Searchlight will survive the move to Disney, which already once declared it's disinterested in art house film and is clearly focused on launching its own streaming service to challenge Netflix. You can't go up against Netflix. They got it going on right now. But those are the three major things that's going to go on in the industry. The end of the major studios, the new order, which is those 5 major companies, and the indie independent studios. Moving on to DeWanda Wise. She's supposed to have been in the Captain Marvel movie, but she has a conflict of, not a conflict of interest, but her scheduling is a conflict. It was announced in January that she was going to be the Marvel superhero. She's going to be in that Marvel superhero movie. But she is scheduled to do Spike Lee's, it's a Netflix comedy series, Part 2, She's Gotta Have It, Spike Lee, and this is the 2nd season. She's the head person on that, so she can't do both. So I'm like, wow. I mean, Spike would just have to make some adjustments because I would want to be in a Marvel movie. So, but
who was that again now?
Her name is DeWanda Wise. She was supposed to be in Captain Marvel movie, but because of conflict in her schedule, she's Gotta Have It with Spike Lee Netflix comedy. That she can't do both. You know, I guess they were going to film at the same time. Also in the Captain Marvel movie is Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, and Ben Mendelsohn. Actor and producer Irfan Khan. He played in the Slumdog Millionaire, Life of Pi. He was diagnosed with neuroendocrine. It's a tumor, cancerous tumor. He's 51, and he reached out to his 2 million followers. He said, "The unexpected makes us grow," which is what the past few days have been about. Khan tweeted to his 2 million followers, "Wow, learning that I have been diagnosed with this rare cancer as of now has admittedly been difficult, but the love and strength of those around me, he has found some strength in that." So wish him well. He was also in Inferno and Jurassic World also. Matter of fact, he has a small independent film, India film, he produced called Black Male, and that comes out on April 6th. And last but not least, congratulations to RuPaul. He got his Walk of Fame on Friday. He is the 2,631st star on the Walk of Fame.
Wow, in Hollywood?
In Hollywood.
Go here, RuPaul.
I know that's right. He's done quite a bit. Dancing in the B-52's Love Shack video, becoming the first drag queen to be the face of the major cosmetic line MAC, and launching a reality show Empire. He's also friends with Jane Fonda. He met Jane Fonda on the season 5 of the Netflix Grace and Frankie. I haven't seen it yet, but they said it was a good Netflix movie, series.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my Hollywood wrap up.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ketel. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Good job as always.
Thank you.
Well, since you got the mic, tell us about the cocktail of the week while you're at it.
Okay, the Angry Balls. You guys have to give me this one, huh? The Angry Balls.
You know you like
half
it.
Of,
what's the Angry Balls?
Whatever. One half of the Fireball whiskey. That's like a cinnamon type of liqueur. One half Angry Orchard beer. And this drink gives you the heat from the cinnamon whiskey and the tingle and fizz from the beer. It's a tasty combination you want to share with a friend. Now, I might want to drink it all myself. Yep. It's called the Angry Balls. It's short and sweet. I mean, is this over ice or is this like a shot?
It didn't say over ice, so I guess it depends on how you like it. Because with it having beer in it, I don't know if you would want to put ice in it, but I guess you'd have to try it and see.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Have to check it out. Okay.
All right, Poppa DD, can you tell us about the Kiss It list?
The Kiss It list is a list of people who showed their butt hiney over the last week or two at the most. And these are people that are a mess. Let's start off with Megan Ruth. She's a sister of her brother savagely killed 9 African Americans in a church in South Carolina, and she's still walking the streets talking crap.
Yeah, she's on the list.
Over their head. Anyway, and Megan Hess illegally selling body parts at a funeral home. You know, they just use the funeral home as a depository for just distributing stuff to different areas, you know, whether it be livers or you name it, kidneys, you know. What a mess. Derek Fairland for he took the bank he robbed the bank with a taxi, paid for the taxi with the money from the bank. United Airlines for the death of little Popito. All right. And the schools, what's it called? Lawton County? Loudoun County in Virginia. They told the kids, if you march, you'll be suspended. If you step out the school, you'll be suspended. Those are people that are highly influenced by the white wing, highly influenced. They pay for the campus. They keep them right, and probably some of their students are going. Their kids are going there. So.
And also Donald Trump for constantly firing people. Got his staff all nervous because they don't know who's going to be next.
And Ketel and Redwine.
And Poppa DD.
Oh, don't forget the custodian, Aisha Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing
Put her on
stealing the money. Yep.
Kids are out there protesting. She's ransacking the bags. What the hell?
And I'm going to say whoever was responsible for that bridge coming down in Florida.
Yeah.
Put them on the list.
And with a name like Aisha, we know that she's not a white woman. Anyway.
Yes,
she was.
Well, we got Hispanic. Oh, she was Hispanic.
Yeah, but she wasn't white, honey. The Hispanics, they're the new Negroes anyway.
We got something everybody on this. Gonna put a bow on it.
Kiss my entire ass. Kiss my Irish ass. You better kiss my Irish ass. This world can kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. You can just kiss my ass. Baby, you can just kiss my ass. Oh, you can kiss my country ass. I said if you got a problem with any of that, you can kiss my natural born redneck to the bone, ever loving country ass. That's right.
All right, welcome back to the Pajama Party. I'm one of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
And Redwine.
Hello, bonsoir. And I would like to add Katy Perry to the list.
What? That's my girl.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
well,
Katy Perry?
Because
wow, for kissing that guy?
Yeah. Why would you make a guy kiss you on the lips? She was one of the contestants.
I saw that.
That whole thing, I was like, and now the guy saying he was uncomfortable. I think she just went a little too far with that. So.
That's all right. She freaked him out because he thought he was slick and she out-slicked him.
And she just freaked
Don't worry about it. So what? What's he want, $1 million?
Hey, you a freak.
That's all right. She's all right.
Uh-huh. You want to get with her. Anyway,
she's all right.
We're going to the last word. All right.
30 pounds.
For the last word.
Put about 40 pounds on her.
Papa, you were right. She was light-skinned with gray eyes. My bad. I'm looking at a picture now. So.
She black. Ain't no Spanish from Aisha. Aisha's yeah. She was black. God bless her.
Okay.
All right, last word over to you, Poppa DD.
All right, my last word, I'd like to send out 2 shout-outs. One to an old friend of mine from years ago. We used to entertain together. I'm not going to talk about what type of entertainment. This guy's name is Mystique. He's a magician as well as a dancer, and I got in touch with him. I touched base with him today. I haven't talked to him in years, and it was great to talk to him. He's a magician, does magic, and I'm trying to get him on the show to do a little interview about what he does. His name is Mystique, my main man. And also a coworker of mine, his name is Lorenzo. Shout out to him. He messed up his knee, fell and messed his knee up, and Lorenzo, get well soon, brother. Mess up that knee as a bear, especially if you're over 50 years old, I tell you. So to Lorenzo and Mystique, 2 beautiful black brothers, peace to both of you guys.
And I'd like to give a shout out to Blue Apron, the boxed food delivery service. It's not a paid ad, but they are on point. Come up with some really good recipes. If you ever want to try one of those food delivery services, check them out. I think you'll be happy. Shout out to Florida. Shout out to Cali, New York, Mexico, Philly. Who'd I miss? Pittsburgh. Haven't heard from Pittsburgh in a while. Maryland, D.C. Yay. And thanks for hanging out with us. Over to you, Ketel.
I just want to give a shout out to North Kakalaki. Thank you for your love and support and listening every Friday on the Pajama Party at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and all those other times, I don't know, Papa says them.
9:15 CP.
Oh, Lord. And just thanks for listening every Friday night. I have to say, the 2 special folks in my life, Poppa DD and Redwine, hey, you guys are top notch, and I think we make a great team, and thanks for rolling with me.
Were you trying to bar a 20 spot or something?
Yep, and I want it when I get in the door, when I see you next time. And some of that maker's mark.
Yeah.
They had it.
But I'm
How did you know?
Good night.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. You can check us out on apajamaparty.com. Thanks to our parent company, DC Homegrown, paying the bills, keeping the lights on, and Poppa D's kissing the bottle of Maker's Mark. We're going to get him some professional help. So, like I said, visit us on apajamaparty.com. Tell a friend about the show. Share the laugh, share the wealth, share the information. We'd appreciate it.
That's right. And all the kids out there marching, stay strong. Don't let your little boring-ass parents say what to do. Keep on marching. Follow your dream. You're teenagers now. You're doing your thing. Let yourself be free. All right? Put you under your roof, so you got to listen to them a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. Until next week, we're out. We'll see you next Friday night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hey, good night, Poppa DD.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, good night, Ketel.
Good night.
And bonsoir.
Good night.
See you next week.
All right.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
Is it all over, Rock?
I guess so.
I bid you farewell, arrivederci, sayonara, and all that sort of jazz.
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Well, good night.
Yabiko. Sana.
I regret to announce this is the end. I'm going now.
Good night, and good luck.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Now give me a kiss and say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you for attending our show, and good night.
Pajama Party, growing sexy, growing a party. Pajama Party, Party Crew. for you. No clothes allowed. This summer party. Grown and sexy. Join the party. Good summer party. Party crew.